My father's always worked at the clothing store here in Greer. He got a job at Smith & James in 1961 and has worked at Smith & James ever since then, so 56 years ago. So obviously me being in the clothing business, following my dad's footsteps, just kind of went right in behind him. I decided that I wanted to keep the family business going.
Starting my business, I was teaching school. And in the evening, I would sell clothes from the trunk of my car. From there, I opened up a store on Ponset Street. I rented the store for $75 a month. Thought it was a little high, but I did it. And from there, we moved up to Ben Padgett's Chevrolet place, which we bought, and we've been there 48 years, in the Greer area, 48 years.
His mom and I used newspaper to create patterns, and she liked to sew and I liked to sew, so when we had time, fabric was easy to buy. We just bought fabric and made dashikis, and they liked them and purchased them. The more they liked, the more we would try to make when we had time.
We have been in business since 1974. My father bought it from his friend who started the business in 1958. And from 74 to 1993, we were in our old building, which is a block from our current location. And then in 93, we moved to our new location. And November 1st, 1993 was our first day. Yep. And then the old location had a canopy, had a drive-in, and it was, the original owner tore it down in 73, built up a strip center, and we were on the end, and then 6 months later, my father came and bought the business from him. I had always been helping my father at the old location. I started off helping my mom bread some onion rings and wash dishes and just clean up, and then slowly kind of moved to the cooking line with him. And I just enjoyed working for my parents. We were a very tight-knit family, and from there I just decided, hey, this is for me. You know, I'm gonna go into the family business. It was a pretty clear path for me.
We've always kind of been a destination store. People know that we're here. Our business has turned 100 years old last year. Now it's nice to be down here because a lot of the rebuilding of downtown has been nice, but I feel like we're kind of a cornerstone of downtown. It's always been a men's clothing store. Carries a few ladies in the 80s, you know, ladies' suits and things like that, but it's always just been known as a men's clothing store.
I stayed in Greer because it's so centralized, and people come. We're a high-end store, so people come from all around, Asheville, Atlanta, Charlotte, and all to shop with us. I had 5 stores at one time, and we've down to 2 stores now, but I had them, and most of them I went into small towns just like Greer. Gaffney, Lawrence, Winsboro, and Greer and Greenville. So we've had 5 stores total.
When the games were held at the old city stadium, which is a block and a half from our current location, that's when we used to stay open late, and the place was full, and everybody used to come, you know.
This building was actually the Commission of Public Works building. They have a sprawling campus out there now, but this is where the Commission of Public Works was originally. And the building next door here was South Carolina National Bank. The building on the corner was the Bank of Greer, right here. And those were really the only 2 banks here in town. There were shoe shops here. What amazed me, I was thinking not too long ago about how many jewelry, there were like 4 or 5 jewelry stores downtown. And they were all mom and pop, and they had, and they were all small. There were actually storefronts in front of the depot where that parking lot is. I think there was just an alley where the depot was. And that's where the fire department and the police department were. And there was and the only billiard hall in town was down there as well, right next to the police station, which was convenient. If you take Randall Street that way, there were Wood Mortuary, which is the oldest continuous business in Greer, was located there, down there at one time before they moved up here.
Where we're located, we rely on repeat business. That's what we thrive on. So, you know, we don't get a lot of people just traveling through. So we've built up our business reputation, service, food, quality, and just being connected to Greer, helping local charities, things like that. So we wouldn't be here without the folks here in Greer. I mean, we've relied on the local people. That's our bread and butter.
I have a lot of loyal customers. Many of the customers that started with me 48 years ago are still shopping with me. And they will tell you right quick, this is the only place I shop. And we don't try to do a service, we do a service. The mail drops in my store every now and then, and I appreciate that.
I would say 50% of our business is just from Greer, and then I would say the other 50% is probably from, you know, the surrounding communities. Citizens here have always been loyal to us. That's the reason we're still here, you know, after 101 years. You know, small businesses like ourselves are the ones that, you know, support all these charities around town, and the Greer Community Ministries and the Greer Relief and the you know, the heart associations and the bands around the town and everything. So I think it's when you always hear the slogan "Shop Local." Well, shop local really means shop local because it really means, I mean, your money's going back into the community.
I have fond memories of the Greer community when I was still actively working in the summer. I volunteered with the startup of the Meals on Wheels program in the large home right down Poinsett. And I have fond memories of that. And I am continuing to work with the Greer Community Ministry. I am a volunteer for Meals on Wheels, and I worked for a short time with the board for Greer Community Ministries. And I have fond memories of volunteering with that program. Well, I like the fact that we have a variety of stores now. We have more restaurants, so you can go out to eat in Greer very easily, and we enjoy seeing people, enjoy being able to choose some place to go out to eat and to shop.
There's a lot of stuff to do in Greer. I mean, you know, years ago, there was, when you wanted to go out to eat, to have a nice dinner with your wife or your girlfriend or whatever, or your family even, you know, you may have to travel off. Now we have so much more things to do, you know, as far as entertainment-wise. So we hardly ever even leave Greer much.
The quaintness of the town, the restaurants that are now available, being the hub between Spartanburg and Greenville. And I've found people in Greer to be just a little bit nicer.
I would say the biggest impact has been the transition from a textile-based economy to automotive and a lot of others.
We had a lot of great leaders that thought ahead, knowing that we were going to go through some growth periods and be prepared for that.
With the revitalization of downtown, it's had a really positive impact on our business. Anytime there's a festival, a gathering of some sort, lighting of the Christmas tree, Oktoberfest, Family Fest, you name it. new businesses opening in downtown, we have definitely felt an increase in business due to that.
I think Greer's just on the cusp of growing, you know, a lot bigger than it is. There's a lot of land around here still to be, you know, developed. So I think we're, you know, right at the beginnings of a lot of growth. The biggest thing that stayed the same is just community. I mean, the people that have always lived here are pretty much the same people as they've always been. And I think that's what makes Greer a great place to live and raise your kids. The people, you know, they look out for you, and you have everything to do in Greer that you need to do, and it's, you know, it's a great place to live.
I go to Memorial Methodist Church, where George Strait was a pastor for 10 years. And what I have seen there, even since I've been back, is how many children that grew up in that church, went away to school somewhere, came back here and started families. And you don't see that everywhere. There's this family connection. People want to be around their extended families.
The one thing I want everybody from Greer to remember is a guy named Guy. Guy was a fellow, he was special needs. I can't put it into words how special he was to the community, to the people that really have been in Greer for a long time. He was just one of those guys that everybody knew. He would lead the parades, the homecoming parades and the Christmas parades, and he was out front with his whistle. Yep, and he was just marching and just, and he was the highlight of the parade, really was. But he's somewhere in Clinton, and he was the pulse of Greer. He was the heart of Greer, really was. So I hope that everybody will remember Guy.
You know, I think the biggest thing is that I wouldn't want to change is just for Greer to be Greer. I mean, Greer is, I think Greer's always been known as kind of a hick town, and I think it's got its own little nice identity now. I go out of town and get a lot of compliments on, boy, Greer's really nice. I mean, Greer's got a neat downtown.
You have locals who sort of treat you maybe like family.
The quality of life is so good, plus the economy and the opportunities here are just unbelievable, I think.
It's just a great place to raise a family. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.